Hello, welcome to the channel. My name is Aditi and I'm back with some mixed media inspiration for y'all. We have an IG hop currently running, which is a collaboration with Syberia Designs and Wow Embossing Powder. So definitely hop along with us and see the fabulous inspiration there is for y'all and enter to win some amazing prizes. So, for my creation today, I decided to make a little pocket notebook. Now, for the book, I have decided to use stone paper for my cover. I'm using stone paper because this is thick and sturdy and it just gives me more options to play around, and it ensures that my pocket notebook will just stay sturdy and usable, for a longer duration. So the measurement of the stone paper is 4.5 inches by 6.75 inches, and we'll get to the scoring later on. For the pages inside, I'm using some bond printing paper, and I like that because it's thicker than just the standard printing paper, and it would be good to use this to write out my ideas, project deadlines. Just keep it handy with me in my pocket or in my purse. So the end page, when completely folded, measures 2/7/8 inches by 4/1/8 inches. I've taken a standard A4 sheet, folded that into half, cut it. I have then folded that, and this has given me the size of a paper, and then scored at the center, and that's the paper I'm using. I am going to be stitching this notebook, and that's the reason why I need the papers to be longer, just folded, so scored at the center, and I'm just layering all the papers on top of each other. And so that's about 15 pages that I have here, and I will then stitch it right in the middle and then attach it to my cover. So now to score this piece of paper, I am going to first score it at 3.5. So that's 3.5. And then I'll rotate the paper and I will score it at 3.25. That's 3.25. And I will score again right in between these two points that you can see here at the 3/8 mark. I'm just going to fold along the first score line, and what that does is it just gives me a nice flexible spine for the notebook. And now when I stitch it, I know I need to do it in this part, that extra part that we achieved by having these three score lines. I'm going to create a resist background paired with some sentiments. So I've chosen the sentiment for a special human from the Life is Good set, and the stars are the limit from Smile and Wave. I am going to just repeatedly stamp this on my background and heat emboss that with opaque bright white embossing powder. So now I'm going to heat set this using my Wow Dual Heat tool on the second heat setting. So that's a look at that white on white embossing. Now I have repeated the same thing on the inside of the stone paper because I would like that same effect on the inside covers as well. And now I'm going to begin coloring this. And so today I will be using acrylic paints, and I am creating a soft background So I'm using white, lemon sky, and turquoise. These are Dina Wakley acrylic paints. And to add the paints, I am going to be using a baby wipe. So I will just lay out some of the paints here and use my fingertips and the baby wipe and play around with coloring the background. So as you can see, it is important to add paint in a circular motion. So I have just pushed my finger into the wet wipe and I'm picking some of the color and just blending that onto the stone paper in a circular motion. The best part is that I'm using the stone paper, and no matter how wet I make it, nothing is going to tear. So I have the liberty to nicely blend and play around with my colors here. I'm just going to give this a nice dry, and for that I'm going to use my Wow heat tool at the first heat setting. Now I've repeated the same process on the inside, and you can just see why I did that resist embossing. It just pops up amongst all of that color, and it instantly just creates a fun background. So here on my stamping platform, I've lined out some of the stamps from the spring bunnies. I have picked 4 bunnies and the carrot and the egg. And from Smile and Wave, I'm using the star. So I am going to emboss them with Wow embossing pad and then heat set them with primary ebony black. Now the paper that I'm using is Canson watercolor paper, which is 180 GSM, and I'm using that because I want to color the images with either watercolor pencils or water soluble aquarelle, which I'll decide later. But because I'm using a water-based medium, I thought it's better I stamp and die cut them on watercolor paper. Now with all of those images heat embossed, I decided to use my Derwent Inktense watercolor pencils to color all of these cute elements. So I am going to just lay on color, use my water brush, color these elements, and I just find this very therapeutic and relaxing. So I'm just going to do it at ease and enjoy the process. Now, what I love about all of these stamps is that they come with coordinated dies. So I have just used those and die cut all of my elements and I have them ready here for layering. Now, before I glue these down and create a composition, I want to build the background further. So I'm going to use the floral lattice stencil and create a little more design. I am going in with the green aquamarine Inktense pencil and I will outline each of these boxes to get the design on the background. So that is a look at it. Now for this particular notebook, I'm not going to completely stitch it. I'm going to show you an easier technique of doing it. So it's important for us to line the pages completely. Of course, some are going to be bigger than the other, but that doesn't really matter to me. So I'm lining them up and just using some binder clips so they stay intact together. I just have a foam base here, and this is actually my tool to remove die cuts, but I'm using this to punch holes. So what I have done here is marked two holes, 1 inch from each side. So 1 inch from the top inwards and 1 inch from the bottom upwards. And right in the middle where I have my score line, I'm just going to push and create a hole. Now on the cover, right in the middle, I am just going to align the notebook, and then just through this hole, I will make 2 points. So that's given me the exact placement for it. And the same way, I will just make a hole. I want to use black, and I have just used normal thread, kind of layered it about 5 or 6 times to make it a little thick. And I am just going to pass this through my book first. And once I have it in through the notebook, I'm just going to now pass it through the covers as well. Now once that's in, I need to just turn it around and tie it up here. And that just instantly puts all our pages together. I am going to add a little bit of an embossing touch to my colored elements, just to the carrots and the stars. So for the carrots, I will use Chinese lantern, and for the stars, I will add Icicle Teal. I'm going to add embossing ink with the mixed media embossing brush. For the stars, I will use the embossing ink pad. Just smoosh them in my ink pad and add the Icicle Teal over them, because I don't want it just in one part. I want them to be spread out. And that's just to look at how gorgeous they look with that tiny bit of a detail and that embossing powder, giving them another three-dimensional look. Now all I'm going to do is arrange my elements. So I am just going to build a scene now on the front of my book and glue all of these layers down. So that's a look at it on the front. And what I did was, since I had those eggs and a few bunnies left, I just glued them on the back of the cover. So as if hopping one egg to another, reaching for the stars. I also used that part of the star I cut off from here just to create that continuity. So that gives me a nice scene on the front as well as on the back. And to add one final touch, I'm going to bring back the stars are the limit from the background to the foreground. So this time I have heat embossed it with white on black. So that's it. That completes my mini book. That's a look at all that shine, that shimmer, and a fun little book. And I'm happy because I get to customize my own notebooks and use them, because every time I pick this, it sure is going to make me smile. I hope you've enjoyed this. Until the next time, take care and bye bye.